when you do that and there's like muscle there, nobody cares about that.
Pronouns? They, them. They're basically your own custom pronoun.
Not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive. They're meant to be worker ants. They're supposed to listen to women. You are a queen. They are workers.
Take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit.
Yeah, I recently got a flashback notification from my freshers week from when I first started uni. On this day, 9 years ago. 9 years ago. This is nearly a decade ago. I also recently got like a notification from like progress gym pics that I took. Like, I think it was 1 year or 1.5 years into my transformation journey. And I got notifications from those pictures. It was 4 years ago. In 3 months' time, I will have officially entered my late 20s. Remember New Year's 2020 when everyone was talking about like the new decade? Like, it wasn't just New Year, it was like new decade. Like, you know, we were going from 2019 to 2020 and it was like a brand new decade, like the 2020s. And like everyone's kind of hyping up about the new decade and like everyone was hyped. Everyone was like looking back at the past decade and like hyping up the new decade, like, oh, what's it gonna bring? So much time. That feels like very, very recently, right? Well, we're now in the second half of this decade. More time of this decade has passed than there is left. And it went like that. What have you done in that time? What do you have to show for it? Remember? We all thought this was going to be like the big decade where everything happens and everything changes and like, oh my god, like this is going to be the decade where we all get married and have kids and like buy homes and stuff. And like, we're more than halfway through. What have you got to show for it? What progress have you made? What stories, what memories have you got? In becoming more aware of like my own mortality, as I notice my hair getting thinner, more wrinkles on my face, and kind of as I get older, my worldviews even starting to change and stuff like that. Nobody can deny that I've been through a rapid change in that time, you know, the first half of this decade. And despite all the progress that I have made, I can't shake the feeling, I can't help the feeling that for some of the things I feel no closer to getting to any of them than I did at the start of this decade. You can't take this racing of time lightly. Before you know it, you won't just be like me at 26 years old, scratching your head wondering, geez, where did all this time go? No, you'll be 56, sitting there living alone, wondering where did all the time go, without any memories, without anything of note to show for it. All this to say, if you're in your 20s, cherish it. This is your construction phase. The things you build and the things you do now will probably echo for decades. There's this popular understanding that like your 20s are kind of for like finding yourself and like, you know, just taking it easy and having fun and just wandering through life, basically. Going through life with no real plan, no direction, just kind of aimlessly go and try and find yourself between dead-end job after dead-end job that you don't really enjoy or like, and just in between numbing yourself with like whatever narcotics or whatever like drugs or alcohol that you can get your hands on, and you know, that's labeled as like self-discovery. There's one problem though, and it's that you don't really stumble into being somebody by accident. You can't just do life like very passively stumbling and wandering through like bad decision after bad decision and then eventually come out at the other side as someone of note. Just, you know, magically come out by the time you're 30 as, you know, someone who's found himself. You need to be intentional in everything you do. Go out with the intention of like actually building your character. Have an idea, you know, kind of write it out. Have an idea of the kind of person you want to be. Even if that changes in the future, just have an idea now and kind of like be intentional in working towards that. Building experiences, going through experiences, doing crazy shit, but do everything with intention. Because if you're not intentional, soon you'll be 30 with nothing and just dead chat and a bunch of excuses. Because you don't find yourself, you build yourself. As corny as that sounds, it is true. I know lots of like the Sigma grind set, David Goggins type of guys who are like, oh yeah, you know, eat, sleep, gym, work, money, finance, fitness, you know.
I don't take any days off. No days. 7 days a week. 7 days a week.
All those type of guys are probably nodding and agreeing with me, being like, yeah, your 20s are for working hard and building yourself, and you just gotta train hard and work and build money so that you can enjoy yourself later, you know? You've probably heard all that same shit from them, and they're probably gonna agree with what I said earlier. However, I have a bone to pick with those guys too, because I feel like they're also leading you down a dark place where it's like, oh yeah, no, it's only for constructing yourself and working hard now only. So you probably noticed one thing that I said that's kind of different from all these Sigma grindset types of people. The difference is that I've emphasized quite a few times so far in this video the importance of stories, memories, creating experiences, and those are things that they never talk about. Because your late teens and 20s should be the time for like creating the stories and fun moments that you're going to tell your kids in the future, if you have kids. They should be the time to create the memories and stories that you're going to tell people in order to make friends. You know, stories you tell people in order to sell yourself and make friends, or to attract a partner who finds you interesting. Say yes to that trip to an exotic random place. Go live on the other side of the world for like a year and see what you get up to. And when I say see what you get up to, I don't mean aimlessly wander through. Like, obviously have a plan of things that you want to experience, things that you want to get out of it, and then see how many of those things you can get out of it. Go try and sneak into that party or that bar or club. Go talk to that girl and maybe follow her and her friends with your friends to an afters that's like an hour away. Play that weird sport like ultimate frisbee. Get into situations that scare you and make you uncomfortable. Go camp for 4 days at a festival. Collect XP, collect scars, collect stories that you'll be telling when you're 40. Basically, live for the plot. I've had this motto recently of like, do it for the plot. And I'm sure you know what that means. It just basically means if it seems like this is going to be an interesting story to tell, lean towards doing it. Obviously don't do anything stupid that's going to ruin your life, but like, if it's going to make your life more interesting, then probably do it. And yes, doing it for the plot requires intention. You need to seek out these moments and like build yourself up for it so that you can access these moments. You can't just be passively wandering through life, finding yourself, and then expecting that like you're all of a sudden going to have access to these kind of situations. If you're just going to be wandering through life with no intention or no like goal to what you're kind of going for, you're not just going to stumble into memorable memories, you know? There is kind of a barrier to entry to a lot of like memorable stuff and to a lot of like exciting adventures and things like that. And unfortunately, like to a lot of stories to create, there is kind of a bar to entry that you kind of have to intentionally work hard to get through. For example, you might need to do a bit of glowing up and looks maxing and like going to the gym and building charisma, building your body, building fitness, looking better in order to access some of these kind of experiences. You basically just need to be attractive enough to access, especially things regarding like dating and girls and stuff. You need to build up a certain level of charisma, certain level of attractiveness. That's just how it is. And that requires being very intentional about what you're doing. So going to the gym, grooming yourself, dressing well, learning how to talk to people, learning social skills and charisma, all that kind of stuff. You also will need money in order to access some of these bigger, better kind of experiences. So you will need to find a way to make money in order to fund life, essentially. If you're like a passive, stumbling, find yourself type of guy, you're not going to really think of like doing any of these things, and you're just going to end up accidentally coasting your way and stumbling your way through a life of like boredom and nothingness, essentially. Because like the truth is, you're a guy, you're not a girl, so you kind of have to work a little bit harder in order to like get access or in order to go into these kind of experiences, you know? You have to work more intentionally, because like if you're a guy, nobody's really just going to invite you to things or ask you to come to things or bring you to things if you're like a nobody who has like no connections or no social skills or no charisma, or if you're not like a really, you know, Chad type of guy or like really good looking or whatever. You kind of have to be a guy who's built himself up well, who's networked well, who's like very charismatic and kind of like a Chad. Then you might get access to, you know, being invited to more things or being able to go to more things. But if you're a nobody who's not kind of like built himself up, you're not really going to have access to those things. So you kind of have to intentionally, with intention again, with planning, calculation, build yourself up so that you can be the kind of guy who has access to those kind of memories. But the funny thing is, to be a very well charismatic networked guy who does get invited to things, you have to not be boring. And how do you not be boring? With experiences, with stories to tell. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling kind of loop, you know? Building experiences, building a fun life, building like memories. It's part of the construction phase in your 20s. It's an equally as important, I think, part as like all the other like Sigma grind set, work hard, make money type of things the internet's trying to sell you as well. Build your foundations in your 20s so you don't end up in your 30s and 40s as a boring cunt front who has nothing to say. Like imagine you're in your 30s and 40s and like you don't really have any memories or stories to tell. Like your kids, if you even have any, are going to find you boring. They're not going to have anything they can gain from you. No like entertaining stories or anything. Networking for like job opportunities or networking for like even making friends or even trying to get married or like, you know, trying to date. It's like you're not going to be attractive enough because you're boring. You are boring. And this is the problem with these hustle culture rise and grind types, is like they will lead you off the edge of a cliff, down the edge of a cliff, down a path where building yourself is only this one-dimensional thing of like just hustling and making money locked away in a fucking dark room, you know, building a business or working hard in a career or something, hustling in like an office and then going lifting weights in a dark room all by yourself for, you know, 6 days a week and then coming home and going to sleep. They're basically going to get you to live like a monk for a decade and come out of it expecting to be able to like join the world and enjoy the world after that. It's like a bit late now, like. And say by the end of it all this hard work, by the time you're 30, you're like a millionaire in your 30s or whatever. It's like, okay, well, nobody wants to be friends with you because you're shy crack. No, you've no experiences, no stories to tell. You've no real experience like dating or with girls or talking to girls. Women basically find you weird and autistic. The only like friends or the only women that you can get are ones that are like gold diggers, because like all you can do is lead with your money because that's all you have. And those people, those girls will take advantage of you and leave you in the dust because, well, that's all you have. And they never actually liked you because you're boring. Why? Because you led with money, because you sacrificed everything thinking that money was going to be this thing that's going to give you everything you want in life, and it's just not. You thought money was going to attract women because you're too stupid to realize that like true romantic and like sexual attraction, it's emotional. It's like an emotional phenomena, and it's not going to be bought by money. Unlike what all the Sigma grindset people try to convince you as they, you know, encourage you to fucking throw your life away for a decade. They're basically encouraging you to sabotage your 20s, sabotage that whole decade in order to turn you into still a loser, but like a highly productive loser. If you had any life experience, you would kind of know that like, okay, like women don't really care about money that much. It's like kind of one of the biggest lies and psyops that we've kind of been sold, like this idea that like, oh yeah, more money, more women. And it's like, yes and no. Yes, you can buy them off, but they won't really like you. Attraction is all about emotion. It's all about like fantasy. It's about the story, especially like for women. It's all about like the story, the emotion, the moment, you know. Read any romance novel, watch any rom-com, any story, right? It's all about like the emotion. And money just doesn't really trigger any emotions. Money is purely for convenience. If you're like a high status rock star type of guy, that's like a really great story, that's emotional. If you're a really charismatic, you know, sweet talking, great social skills type of guy, that's gonna trigger some emotions, that's gonna, you know, that's gonna be exciting. If you're just a guy with money, but none of the other things, like who cares? Like how many romance novels or movies are written about like an ugly, out of shape, autistic guy who's a millionaire because he worked for 20 years all his life? None, really. Usually if it's like a millionaire, billionaire guy, it's also some fucking high thrill-seeking kind of fucking adventurous guy as well, who's also insanely good looking, who's also jacked and has a six-pack and everything. So money is never gonna buy you love, attraction, you know, genuine connection. It's not. And the sooner you understand that, the better. In fact, I would genuinely prefer if it was between two options. Obviously, neither are ideal, but if it was between two options where it's like, I would genuinely prefer if you spent your entire 20s just living for the plot, building memories, doing exciting things, creating exciting stories, and do none of the productive stuff, make no money, stay broke, but live an exciting life in your 20s. I would prefer that over the other where you spend your entire 20s grinding, working hard, all alone, no memories, no stories, no bitches, nothing. That second one, in my opinion, that's the worst thing. Because the way I see it, you can always settle down when you're older. So say you like didn't work hard really at all and you just kind of lived for the plot and did exciting, memorable stuff in your 20s. By the time you're 30, you can kind of calm down. You can kind of like start getting your shit together by then and working hard. Like I think a lot of billionaires and millionaires probably didn't get their shit together until they were like 30 or 40, you know? Like there's a lot of really successful people who were fuck-ups in their 20s. Now, obviously don't be a fuck-up, but like I think it's preferable if you just lived for the plot all of your 20s and did no work, because at least then maybe later on you can salvage it when you're 30 or 40. However, if you get to your 30s and 40s and you're boring, no life experience, no stories, nothing exciting about you, you're pretty much fucked. Like it's over, I think. I don't think you can redeem that. I don't think you can start living and creating memories as a 30, 40-year-old man. Like, it's definitely a much more uphill battle. However, obviously both are two extremes. You can do both though. You can do the work but also live for the plot. Work hard, play hard, because I'll be honest, I think playing hard is part of the hard work that you should put in your construction phase in your 20s. You know, you should still wake up for the gym and train hard and get jacked, because that's going to help you in your social side as well. You should still, you know, work hard in your dream career, or trying to find like a really purposeful career that you like, or try and, you know, start a business if you want to, or whatever. Still try and get your career and money sorted as well. You know, play a sport that like you're really into, that builds your character, and dedicate yourself to it, but never become a gym cell or a workaholic. And a lot of stuff like working hard in gym and sport are going to help you get access to a lot of the fun experiences anyway, so it's kind of like a two-way kind of street for some of it. I guess what I'm trying to say is date around, cool, but learn the kind of man that you want to be as well in like a relationship. Learn what your values are as well in this time. Travel the world, absolutely, but bring back funny stories, skills and experiences, rather than just, oh yeah, I got drunk and high at like this hotel and I talked to no people and made no funny stories. It's okay though, because I'm just finding myself. So stop waiting to find yourself. Build yourself. Make sure the life you're building isn't just productive, but it's also a movie that you'd want to watch. Your 20s are the foundation. Build it right, and your 30s will be bearable to unstoppable. Build it wrong, and well, you'll be 30, 40, maybe still watching videos like this, wondering where it all went so wrong. Sadly, by that point, as you know, some of our friends in the black pill might also say, it's over.